Hello?
Hey there.
Hello, just testing if it's working now.
Yeah, it seems to be working. I hear
Great.
I hear great.
Awesome. Good to
How
know.
are you?
I'm good. And how are you?
I'm great. I'm great. You're at the airport, right?
I am. Thanks for having me.
I
Thank
feel like I feel like it's kind of fitting because I always feel that project managers and event managers have like this crazy schedule and hectic work. And they're
Yeah,
always on the move.
yeah,
So it
it's
seems to be
crazy.
true.
Yes. And thanks for having me under these circumstances. I was not expecting to be at the airport, but it's we try to plan as much as we can, but sometimes life it's very unexpected.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
That's totally okay. That's totally okay.
Okay, great.
Um, you were in Rome?
Yes, I was in Rome. I went for a marketing meetup with my company, and I was there for 2 days. It was very, very busy. And today I had my flight at the end of the day, the afternoon, and I just landed in Berlin.
Ah, nice.
Ye-
So you were talking to your team in Rome?
Yes, so basically my marketing team and so I'm events manager, but I belong to the marketing team department. So that means some of us are based in Berlin, other people they are based in other countries. So this was like our annual or quarter annual meeting, and we choose a place or a city where it's convenient
Uh-huh.
for everyone, and we fly there and we have a meetup.
Okay,
It's
nice.
just to be more in person, a brainstorming session, a working session, learning session as well. Because sometimes doing all of these things online, it's not the same.
Yeah, sure. I hear you. I hear you. I didn't know you had a company. I thought you were freelancing.
I was freelancing for a long period of time, but now I'm part of a company. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yes,
Um,
I still do work a lot inside my side projects, and I have my own cultural company based in Lisbon.
mhm.
So while I'm working in Berlin, I do some consulting, and I do organize some events of my own. So it's all together.
Damn, that must be crazy.
Sometimes, yes, I have to admit that is, but it's very fulfilling as well.
Okay, that's true. That's true. Okay. I love hearing more about that in a second. Um, I'm gonna formally start the event. Um, so, yeah, I just want to mention we're recording this, so if we'd like people to engage and ask questions and stuff, but just so you know, you will be recorded if you unmute later in the call. Um, but don't let that deter you. Um, just so you know.
Okay.
Um, oh, it's not for you. It's more for the for the people in the crowd. Hey,
Okay.
Jackie, I see you. Jackie was our previous guest on this series, and we had a great event with her as well. So happy to have you back, Jackie. Hey, hey. Cool. Okay, good. Some announcements before we get started. Just good to know. If you want to have full phone interactivity for the people who haven't been on Twitter Space before, um, I'm sorry, if you want full interactivity, you need to go on your phone. The desktop app is a bit limited. Um, and as always, we do reward for engagement. So please engage. and we'll have a little something for you. I'll tell you more about that later. If you have questions during the interview, you can drop them in the text box in the right bottom corner. And if it fits with the conversation, we'll do it in a moment, and otherwise, we get to it at the end. And at the end, we also have like a Q&A session where we're just going to open up the stage to people who want to ask their questions. So any questions will definitely get answered. Um, so yeah, that's it. For the people who don't know me, I'm Helix. I am part of the growth team at Metrics DAO. And about a month or so back, I was in Berlin for ETH Berlin, and I was at a cool party and going outside for fresh breath air. And I strike up a conversation with a couple of strangers, and one of them happens to be our guest, Thais, which is a Brazilian name, but she's from Portugal. And we started talking. She was doing a lot and lots and lots of events uh, during that week. And it turned out that she is an event manager in Web3. And I thought that was really cool. I also did some event management work, so we definitely had a connection there. And then she told me that it was actually pretty recent that she jumped into Web3 fully. And yeah, she did some soul searching and she figured it out and she went to do it. And I thought that was really cool. So that's why I wanted to invite you here today. So I'm really happy that you're here. Um, like we were just talking, you just landed back from Rome. You split your time between Berlin and Lisbon. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
All right. Two of the big crypto cities in Europe, I think.
I must say they are. I mean, so far they've been hosting a lot of big events, so I'll say they are.
Okay, okay. Very nice. Um, how long have you been doing this?
The events, I would say I started my first round of events last year around this time, where
Hmm.
I was organizing side events for Solana Breakpoint. So I was just recently came back from Australia, where I lived the past 3 years before last year. So I came back from Australia, back to Portugal, to be with my family because I've been overseas and abroad since COVID and all of that. But as soon as I came back to Lisbon, I saw Lisbon completely a whole different city. It was the capital hub of the digital nomads in Europe, and a lot of crypto events and startups. We had Web Summit. We still have Web Summit as one of the biggest tech events happening in Lisbon, but it happens that a lot of crypto big conferences were taking place in the city. Um, was around that time, October, November, that some of my friends are like, oh, okay, Thais, you're being involved in the space, and there's a lot of things happening now in the city, and we need more people and human resources so we can organize some side events that there's all these blockchain companies want to host and co-host and find venues, and I'm a local, so it was easy for me to jump on board and help them setting up, organize, and consult with spreadsheets and which venues, which prices, how like concept they should go for one or another. It went so fast. Those 2 weeks, I guess, was 2 weeks full on, and then that's when I felt like, okay, I think this is where I want to be.
Uh,
And then I shift more, and that was the turning point where I shift more from marketing into events. But I was doing a bit of Web3 marketing before that, and
Okay.
hosting also some online events into Web3, blockchain, NFT, online events as well. So when I was in Australia, I hosted two NFT festivals online, like on Metaverse, and that was another part of it. So it's a big it's a big crazy background, but that's when I started working more in events. Was like last year.
Okay, okay, okay. So you've been around the space for quite a while, actually.
Yes, so I would say for two and a half 2.5 years.
Oh wow, you're a veteran in in the crypto space. You are.
uh, I don't
Uh,
think so.
okay. Um, okay, that's really cool. How did you end up in that? Because what did you study? And you already told us a bit about your previous jobs. Um, but what's your background?
Okay, so I studied marketing. I went to university in Lisbon, and I studied marketing and communications. And then I worked in different marketing agencies and as talent manager to also helping and supporting other agencies with marketing and PR and media. But then I was not really happy, so I left my country, Portugal, in 2018, and then I went to live in Australia, where I decided to take a business course, and that was my first. Was my first. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, your mic is cracking a bit.
It's better now.
Yeah, it sounds good now.
Okay, great. If it change somehow, let me know.
Awesome, thank you.
So I went to Australia and I studied business and I lived there for 3 years. But then it was around COVID. I finished my course and I was doing some work while I was there in marketing also. But then was around COVID more or less. Then I realized that people start working more remotely, and we started to rely more on internet and solutions around technology to survive. So we
Mhm,
start looking into having more Uber Eats, Amazon, and cashless payments and all of that. And
mhm,
then I had a shift about my perception about how fast we would shift into more um, into rely more on technology for the next couple of years.
yeah.
Um, and then some of my friends were suggesting like, oh, this is a turning point of the blockchain. I think you should invest in Bitcoin, you should invest in Ethereum and all of that. So I started looking into investments and start looking more into blockchain. I did a lot of research. I read a lot of books. I got a bit obsessed.
Yeah,
I
relatable.
Yes, I got more and more obsessed, and I felt like, oh, I think I can be part of the change, and if this is going to be the future, and I think this is the time I should get more involved. So I started giving some advices to my friend as well. I think we all been there, like um, suggesting your friends, "I bought this, I bought that, I bought this. How much coins you have?" and all.
Yeah.
I had some spare money, my savings while I was living in Australia. So I started investing in, I don't know, 20 different projects. And I saw like some gains. And I was like, oh my God, if I can do this much with so like poor knowledge, how much I can do with more knowledge and more involved.
Mm,
And I got, and then I felt like I should shift my passion more into being more fully committed to work in the space. And then from there, I got some invitations to host some NFT um, festivals and interview some artists online. And then there were NFT artists who were talking about their career, their the background, how did they got into NFT, the value they saw into broadcast they work through NFTs as well. And from there, it went up really fast. I was interviewing people who work in the pharmacy industry. They have other real cases for NFTs and real estate as well. And my
Mm.
networking started growing so much that I felt like, this is as an experiment. It's been nice. So I want to work with projects like more committed and more fully on. And I think was around somewhere early last year that and I start looking into jobs and projects that I can get involved and bring also my knowledge and background from events and marketing into the Web3 space.
Okay. Overall, it sounds like you had a pretty smooth and gradual transition into the space.
Yes.
Okay, that must be nice. Like I feel like a lot of people are unsure of, how to do it and how to and also like make it into like a dramatic moment somehow. Like at some point you like choose the Web3 life and it's like all or nothing, but it doesn't have to be that way.
No, and it was not always has been easy for me. And I struggled a lot to actually find projects that I could fit in.
Hmm.
For two reasons. One of them because I didn't had a lot of technical background, so there was a lot of open positions for developers, for front end, back end developers, or engineers, and I was not that technical. I never had a technical background into tech specifically.
Hmm.
So it took a while. So I was wondering if I should shift into like more community management because I was already part of a lot of Discord and Telegrams. I was very engaged with these Telegrams I was part of. So I was
Yeah.
like, maybe this should be like the place I can fit in. But then was not there yet. I applied for some positions. I didn't got it. And then I start wondering if it was a gender thing as well.
Hmm.
So it just came a lot of things on my head, and was around that time that I worked for small projects and a short term.
Hmm.
And then I was not fulfilled yet, and this is where I went to Mexico for 3 months.
Yeah.
Then I was almost broke with with
Yeah.
no money, with the idea that I would eventually find something while I was there, and the money was running short, and I was wrapping my head around like how I'm gonna survive with this idea that I will make it to the Web3.
Yeah, yeah, I've been there.
And it was a lot of persistence and like self development and looking into things and to look into my core values and be more confident about some interviews that it kind of changed how things start happening.
Okay, so how did it change when you were in Mexico? What was like the insight or like the pivotal moment that that turned everything that make everything turn out good in the end?
That's a very good question.
Hmm.
I got very angry.
Why? With who?
Just because it's a very funny story. So just before I had my flight to Mexico, and my idea was to spend there 3 months, and I was meant to work for this company, and I got a job offer and everything. But just
Mhm.
before my flight, they withdraw the offer.
No way.
Yes, so I was already like happy, like partying and drinking with my friends. Like I got the dream job. It's gonna be amazing. The sky is the limit, and then just before I jumped on my flight, they said, "Oh, unfortunately, we are withdrawing the offer. This, and that." And I was so mad. But
Yeah.
then I was like, "Okay, maybe it's just they are changing the structure internally, and eventually they'll get back to me." And
Mm.
somehow I found out, 2 weeks later, while I was in the bus from Playa del Carmen to Tulum. I was in the bus with my boyfriend, and I was like, I have this feeling that they're not telling me the truth. So I went to their Telegram or Discord, and they were announcing a person for the position I was meant to be hired for.
Uh,
And I got so mad. I got so mad, and then I started crying. And then my boyfriend's like, "Oh my God, you're gonna ruin the day."
mhm.
And then I was like, I can't be impartial about this, and I cannot like not take it personally because and it hurted my ego. It made me questioning if I was good enough, or again, if it was a gender thing
Mm,
because a guy got hired for the position.
mm.
But then I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna wait for them to see my value, and I'm gonna make my own thing. So
Yeah.
I spent these 3 months while I was there, planning how I can make like a massive event, like blockchain event and NFT festival in Lisbon. And I planned it. I contacted like 10 artists. I searched like a project, a venue, blockchain partners to sponsor the event. And then I built up all of this like day and night. Like I was waking up at 6 a.m., going for a run, come back to my computer, and I was like, okay, I don't have a job in blockchain yet, but I will make it. I'll make
Nice.
And I came back to Lisbon. I made this event happen. It was a success because also what I found was Lisbon was lacking a little bit was educational talks and programs open to
Okay.
people to be more familiar with the space where they can discuss about blockchain companies or projects or getting more familiar with other and then engage with other communities as well. So I just created like a space where people can come and experiment a little bit more about projects and blockchain in general.
Hmm.
Just to not to get into details, but just overall, so you can have an idea. And
Wow.
the event was a very success. And 2 months later, the company called me and said they wanted to bring me in.
What, that same company?
The same company, yeah.
No way. What did you say?
I said yes, but I just changed the terms and conditions that I could work with them. And I said, okay, maybe we can collaborate, but now it's going to be on my terms.
Ah, very good.
Yeah,
That showed them.
yeah.
Okay, wow. That's so awesome because that's one thing that actually I haven't seen mentioned before. Like when people talk about like entering the space, it's mostly like, okay, these are your options. These are like the technical roles. These are the non-technical roles. Maybe you can work for a DAO, or maybe you can work for, I don't know, on some other company. Um, but I almost never hear like the more entrepreneurial path, like just starting your own thing. And your story shows that that's like definitely doable. And I mean, it's also very powerful, I think, because I can imagine when you were doing that and like people were like experiencing your event or watching you do your work, it's like such a great, like it's like proof of work, you know? It's such good proof of work. That somebody is doing this on their own initiative. And like if it's a success, of course people want to hire you after that.
Yeah, I felt like it was hard to convince them. So I needed to show somehow.
Yeah.
Um, and this is how that I found like, well, I need to change the strategy here, and it worked. But it took a lot of my. It was very draining. I was desperate if I would make it or not. I put a lot of things at risk. Also, a lot of my own personal money because I wanted to prove something that I could make it. But and the first stage was for me. I wanted to prove it for me, and I also wanted to onboard people like me
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I needed to create that space first. And then if I could do that um, by my own, I could do it for anyone.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was a fun it was a very fun ride. Scary, but also very scary. In between a lot of micheladas and going to the beach, eating tacos, I was like, I need to figure this out.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah.
Also, like being in another country, like maybe a bit disconnected from like your family and friends, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it kind of helps because first, if I was in Lisbon, I don't think I will be able to do it because you have social obligations.
Ah,
You want to split your time in between being in your computer and just hang with your friends, see your family, or there's always something happening. You're always have this fear of missing out because you have your own network of people. They invite you to do things, and you want to have like a social, active life. I guess I speak for myself. So being there, that I don't have that, I felt like I could channel all my energy and attention into one thing only.
right. So it's actually a good way to focus, actually.
Yes, yes, I needed to focus in order to, to figure it out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I want to see if there are questions from the audience.
Yes.
Um, if anybody wants to ask Thais a question, you can raise your hand. It's under the emoji button, the little heart with the plus. Um, so if anybody wants to, you can do that, and we'll get you on stage, and you can ask your question. Um, in the meantime, I have a question. You brought it up like a couple times. How do you feel about the whole women in crypto, women in Web3 thing? Um, because you mentioned you wondered if maybe that's a thing. How do you feel about it now?
I still is still a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think back then was actually the reason. But since I started working in Web3, I realized when I attend events or when I organize events, there's a small number of women and girls attending crypto and tech events in general. And I think it's worldwide. I think it's the events I organize in Lisbon and the ones I've been organizing in Berlin. I would say still is still very small compared to most. There's a lot of men in the space. Um, I think. How do I feel about this? I think it's just a matter of time because I can see I'm part of two or three groups in Telegram and Discord, and I see it's growing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think this is not related with blockchain itself. It has been in the past. So when I used to attend Web Summit, which is a very big conference in Lisbon that has 11,000. I think it's 11,000 attendees in general. And they always show the numbers that the numbers over the years and the years are increasing, but still it used to be small, but now it's increasing with women developers, entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, and women who code and all of that. So I can see it's a shift and it's increasing and it's getting better and better. And probably I hope in the future it get more even. In
Yeah.
and more an open space. But I think we're still in a transition time, and it feels sometimes a bit overwhelming when we are attending events, for example. And we just when I was in Berlin in a blockchain week a month ago, and I went for two side events to check it out, and I saw like three girls, and they didn't look at me, and they just came straight. They came straight away with me there with their glass of wine just to hang out, and
Of
so
course.
it's they feel seen and they feel that they want to be more involved and they feel more recognized about also some validation about their doing. But I think we're still in a transitioning time, but I hope in the future We don't feel this gender equality issue anymore. I think this is all part of the past, and I don't see why it should be an issue anymore.
Yeah, I totally hear you and I totally agree. I feel like it only makes the space more just nicer to be if there are more diverse perspectives, if everybody's welcome, it just makes it more fun, I feel like. So I hear you that I think we're in a transition and I think it's going in the right direction and I really hope it is and it will go fast. Um, we have somebody who wants to ask you a question. Marina, um, you can go ahead and unmute.
Hi, everyone. Yes, an actual question here from the audience. Thais, thank you so much for sharing your story. Super empowering. Like Helix said, that how you turned a self-starting with a self-starting mindset, you just turned your luck around completely. That's really great, empowering to hear. I wanted to ask if you, I guess, look back now at yourself when you were starting in Web3. uh, is there any kind of one piece of advice you would give yourself at that point of time, or be someone who's starting right now and listening? And if there's anything like you would, any advice you would give right now?
Yes, I think it was a moment that I started feeling desperate and not motivated to keep going. But I think if we're passionate about what we do, this gonna sound very cliche. I'm sorry, but it just proves that this is how things succeeded. If you're very passionate about what you do, and if you believe, don't stop being involved. Engage with communities, with other people. There's a lot of opportunities out there. If you don't fit in one, I mean, I believe in the future there's going to be way more and more and more opportunities. Um, Reconnect with your values and what you can bring, which values you can bring into the space, um, and be very persistent because sometimes um, if we're persistent and passionate and we don't give up at the first no, like any other job interviews or projects that we're not a good fit, there's probably other places we can fit. Maybe it was for a reason you are not involved in that project. Maybe there's another one waiting for you that you can be seen and be more valuable. So I think it's not about luck, it's about persistence and be passionate and motivated.
Love that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Marina, for that. Yeah, for that great question. Um, Persistence, pretty key. Um, I agree. Like to enter this space, in general, I feel like and now it's gonna get a bit new agey, but I feel like the oftentimes the universe kind of wants to know if you want something bad enough, and it will only give you if you really want it bad enough, and otherwise there's kind of like a wall or a moat. And it also makes it more satisfying once you do get it.
Sorry, can you just
Oh,
repeat the last bit? I think I lost for 1 second.
yeah, I was saying that if when something takes perseverance and you really have to fight for it, it's tough when you're doing it, but in the end, when you get what you want, it's so much more satisfying, and it's something that you really earned, and it's also something that not a lot of other people have, so you value it more, and other people don't have it because it takes so much perseverance.
That is true. That is absolutely true. But also, I there's two ways. I think there's either you're very confident and perseverant and you keep pushing, but I don't see any problem about being vulnerable as well. There was
Mm,
moments that I felt like if I'm vulnerable in this interview and say like, "Hey, listen, maybe I might not have all the technical knowledge or some of the core skills you're looking into, but I'm really willing to learn, and I'm passionate about this, and I'll do my best in this trial months to give my best
Hmm.
and learn as I go. And I think there's a lot of companies, they also see that as also something nice to have. And being honest, um, but again, it just comes back to if you're passionate and dedicated. Maybe if you lack a bit of perseverance, that word is complicated. Perseverance, perseverance. You still can manage your way into it. But yes, I know there's not everyone that maybe with that skill of keep pushing and they just give up at some point. But I feel like if you really want something and you're willing to learn, you manage to get your way into it.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a great note to close it out on. I know you're a bit pressed for time,
No,
um, because you need to get home from the airport still. Um, so I'm just gonna wrap it up real quick, before we finish off with a closing thought from you. Just want to say to everybody here, thanks for being here. We got more cool stuff going on. Next week we got Maker Dojo giving a demo. They have like their data provider that have an API that works with text-based commands. So I'm really interested myself to see how that goes. The week after that, we have Data and Chill. Uh, Back by popular demand is On-Chain Investigations with Nick. Everybody was raving about the things he showed us, and it was really mind-blowing. So we're gonna do a part two. Other than that, of course, actually the one I should have started with is that we have our live course starting next week. So it's actually right under the event title. So if you hadn't caught it yet, you can go there and you can check that out. Also, I want to say if anybody wants to like join for a How I Broke into Web3 session, if you broke into Web3 or you know somebody cool who did, let us know. We would love to hear about them and do an interview with them. So everybody who was here, thanks for being here and being part of our event. If you're not part of our Discord yet, if you're not part of Metrics DAO yet, please go to our Discord server and introduce yourself in warm intros. Say that you were at this event, and we'll drop you some X metric. So as a nice welcome gift. Or actually, even if you have been around, even for just being here, you get some X metric. So let us know in the intro channel. Um, Having said that, I want to close out. Thais, I really want to thank you for taking the time, for sharing your story, which I think is very inspirational, and we can gain a lot of insights from it. Um, yeah, and I just want to ask you if you have like a closing thought.
thank you in the first place. Thank you so much for having me, and was very nice to share this. And I think I'll be walking home with a smile. I was like a very introspective talk.
Awesome.
And then, yes, it also made me remind that I should practice more gratitude to make it and to recognize that I came this way and should be happy with my journey so far. But also,
Yeah,
it's
you
nice
should.
to inspire and share this story with other people, and especially other women interested to come and work in Web3. I don't think I have any particular special thought. The market is crashing, but I think we will make it.
Yeah, oh my God. That's a whole nother conversation.
I think I suffer a lot of ups and downs of seeing this like a roller coaster, but just keep your patience, hold. um, I think this is a long term run of development in this space, and there's a lot of it's going to be a lot of failed projects, going to be a lot of failed attempts of making good and better blockchain projects. Going to be some of them they will fail, some of them they will succeed. But it's just I think it's still a lot of years, so we can have a better, clear, a clear picture of the future.
Yeah, definitely.
But yes,
Definitely.
thank you for
It's
having me.
Thank you for being with us. It was amazing. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I really
We'll
enjoyed.
talk.
I hope
Awesome.
we can cross paths in some events, or if anyone here wants to join any events, or either in Berlin or in Lisbon when they're happening in Blockchain Week, feel free to reach out to my Instagram. I'm happy to help. I'm also organizing some educational talks and programs in Berlin. There's a space, we have a center, Academy Center there, and I'm going to be leading some projects next year and also to onboard more women in Web3. So yes, I think this is it will be my closing welcoming final thought.
Awesome. Perfect. So if people want to check you out, the best way is Twitter, right?
Yes,
Okay, awesome. So everybody who's interested, feel free to go over and give her a follow. Thanks for being here, and until the next one.
until the next
Bye,
one.
bye everyone.
Bye.